Is The Fate of Ophelia Taylor's best lead single ever?
The Shakespeare references, the nods to her relationship with Travis, the lyrical parallels, we are talking about all of it in today's episode.
Welcome to Hits Different.
Lee, he. I'm Ryan, and that's Molly.
We're so excited to start breaking down every single song from Taylor Swift's brand new album, The Life of a Showgirl. We are going to be giving you our interpretations of the lyrics in the song and really just diving into the deeper meanings of them and the references to Taylor's other work. But we're also going to be sharing your stories about how you relate to the songs and how you're interpreting them and applying them into your daily life. So we cannot wait to get this series started. To make sure that you don't miss a single episode of our Showgirl series, please subscribe to our channel or follow us wherever you're listening to this podcast. It makes a huge difference for our show if you click that subscribe button or click that follow button. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, please give it a like. In case you've missed any of our other episodes in our Showgirl series, we started it off with our initial album rankings. Challenge level was impossible. Thank you to everyone who shared their own rankings with us. I think we all know they're going to ebb and flow over time. So once we're done breaking down all the songs, we're going to rank them again. Stay tuned for that. We also broke down every Easter egg that we could find in the Fate of Ophelia music video. So if you want to catch up on those first two episodes of this series, they'll be linked to in the description of this episode. But without further ado, it is now time to get into the breakdown of the lead single, the opening track on The Life of a Showgirl, The Fate of Ophelia. For anyone who wants to hear Taylor explain her thought process behind each song, the track-by-track version is available on streaming services. It's on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you stream your music, you can find the track-by-track version of the album. And I just love to hear her take on it, because with The Fate of Ophelia, because we are the Swifties that we are, we had already done the deep diving into the fact that this was a Shakespeare reference, and we knew that going into it. But if you don't, and you don't understand where that's coming from, it's cool to hear her explain that she did, in fact, use Shakespeare again to inspire yet another song. Another lead single, because Love Story was the lead single on Fearless as well.
It's definitely a blend of old and new, for sure. She does a great job of weaving the lyrics that way, talking about her current situation and love interest, and then sprinkling in how that's relevant to Ophelia's fate while also making it a banger all at the same time.
I know, right? It's like we've got a catchy Shakespeare pop song that also has modern day references to her current relationship. It's pop perfection and it's Taylor perfection. And she also changes the ending, just like she does in Love Story with Romeo and Juliet. She likes to save these tragic Shakespeare characters from their fates.
Tried to change the ending, Peter losing Wendy.
I mean, you went to a Disney reference instead of Shakespeare, but yeah, you're still, that's
Same,
on
but
trend.
different.
Yeah, like try to change the ending. Peter losing Wendy. She's changing the ending. She didn't have to try to change it. It was changed. The prophecy was changed. The prophecy being a song on Tortured Poets that talked about how, like, please, I'm on my knees. I just want someone who wants my company. Don't want any money. this is all that I want. I just want to find my person. Or like she says in Wishlist, please God, give me a best friend who I think is hot.
I was literally just going to say that. I was like, or just a best friend who she thinks is hot. Wish granted.
Some other quotes that Taylor gave about the fate of Ophelia when she was doing her press junket to promote the album was her explaining that Ophelia drowned because Hamlet messed with her head so much that she went crazy. She couldn't take it anymore. All these men were just gaslighting her until she drowned. What if the hook is that you saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia? You're the reason why I didn't end up like this tragic, poetic heroine. And then she goes on to say, Shakespeare holds up. It's not overhyped. I love these tragedies so much. I fall in love with the characters so much that it hurts me that they die, which is, again, why she's changing the ending. And so she's putting a romantic spin on the fact that Ophelia was driven mad, but Taylor was not. I also thought this nugget was really interesting. On The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, she said that it was really satisfying to write this chorus. And when she was writing it, composing the melody, the fate of Ophelia, gave her the same feeling that she got when she wrote You Belong With Me. You belong with me. Eve. And the Fate of Ophelia, just how catchy the melodies are. She knew that she had a banger with this opening track and lead single.
I feel like the whole concept of woman going mad is also like just a theme that we hear a lot throughout Taylor's music. I mean, my first initial thought was like Blank Space, and
I'll
that's,
tell
you know,
I'm
just
insane.
like this crazy woman and all of her, you know, crazy antics and her relationships, and she's boy crazy. And obviously we don't need to get into all the other references, but like,
Well, we will.
so of course she loves Ophelia, you know what I mean? She's just
Right.
another scorned woman like Cassandra and all of the other mad woman, like, you know, all of the other references we have through Taylor's music. We love a mad
Yes.
woman.
But no one likes a mad woman. Yeah.
Right.
There are so many lyrical callbacks to Taylor's other songs that we're going to get to as we go through the lyrics. But before we deep dive that, what was your first feeling when we heard the song? What were your immediate takes?
Banger. I feel like if you like watch our react video, I don't know if it had fully processed in that moment, but since then it's been kind of unanimous in our group that this may or may not be her best lead single ever. I definitely feel that way. I think I've been locked into that statement.
I mean, it's her best performing lead single. I was looking up the stats before we recorded, and The Fate of Ophelia is the most streamed song in a single week in Spotify history. So that's not specific to it being the lead single, but because it's number one on the album in track placement, and because it was the single, I think that's why it got that extra boost. It beat out Taylor's previous record with Fortnite. So it makes sense. Her audience, her fan base keeps growing. People's interest in her music keeps growing. So it makes sense that she keeps getting more streams than she did the album before. But the most streamed song in a single week in Spotify history, that was breaking the Miley record from Flowers. That wasn't Taylor's record that she broke. That was breaking a different record. So that's pretty crazy.
And in the like top 10 on Spotify on Taylor's page, Cruel Summer is gone.
Really?
It's gone. Yeah,
Whoa.
dude. You know what's crazy? I literally went and saw this the other day. The top 10 are all tracks from
Showgirl?
Life of a Showgirl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, they trending.
Funny side note is that Honey was not on there because there's been hate for Honey, and we will talk about that in another episode. But Honey was not in the top 10, and I was like, y'all better get it together. But I do feel like a lot of people agree that The Fate of Ophelia is what it is, which is why it's been just popping off.
Right. I have friends who don't listen to Taylor's music really. Probably didn't listen to the full album, maybe hit play and listen to a couple songs. And they've told me I've added Fate of Ophelia to my playlists.
Yeah. You hear it on the radio too, and you're like, ooh. Like, I am literally turning off Life of a Showgirl, and then I turn on the radio, and literally it's playing. And I'm like, I'm not mad about this, you know? And Taylor was just really smart because she made a whole thing out of it with the movie and theaters that featured the music video and that had a dance in it. And she was just so smart with the marketing for this song. It's like she really drove it home.
Right. The fact that it is also referenced on the album cover, which we both have behind us for anyone who's watching. The album cover is a nod to the painting of Ophelia, where Ophelia's head is like peeking up out of the water from her drowning. There's so many themes of the album that are encapsulated by the song, which is what makes like the meta-ness of it all, that it was the lead single and it's the opening track perfect. I also feel like it's a great transition song from Tortured Poets into Showgirl, because while it's a bop, the melody is still, it's not like you're coming out of Tortured Poets and you're getting hit with Welcome to New York or something. You know, it's still like not mellow, but just vibey, the way that this song grows on you. And if it had started with Opalite, for example, it might have been a harsher transition.
Elizabeth Taylor might have been a little too, you know,
moody.
Yeah, too moody.
Yeah, I always love to think about whatever the last song was on the most recent album and then the opening track on the next one. So if you want to go Tortured Poets anthology, it's the manuscript into this, which is crazy. I actually listened to it today in that order, like the manuscript into The Fate of Ophelia, and it's kind of wild, but it does, the transition does work. But she's saying the only thing that's left is the manuscript, one last trip to your shores. Now and then I reread the manuscript, but the story isn't mine anymore. And then it starts with we can start getting into the lyrics. I heard you calling. I won't sing all of these. I heard you calling on the megaphone. You want to see me all alone. So she's closed the book. The story's not hers anymore. Everything that we heard on Tortured Poets is now in the past. And when we're starting with the life of a showgirl, it's I heard you calling on the megaphone. You want to see me all alone. As legend has it, you are quite the pyro. You light the match to watch it blow.
Which is crazy because she's like, Torture Poet's not my story anymore. Here is her story. And it's funny 'cause she's once again storytelling with the duplicity of Ophelia and Hamlet and then her own story. And so, yeah, it's seamless in that way. But I feel like that'd be like a jump scare to listen to the manuscript and then this. I should definitely do it. But I'm like, what a mood shift. Or even just Tortured Poets and then this album. And you'd be like,
I backtracked all the way to Lavender Haze, and I basically did like the beginning of end of the last couple of albums just for my own personal experiment. So Lavender Haze and then Dear Reader and Hits Different, because Dear Reader was the ending of Midnights until we got Hits Different on streaming. So both of those songs, like Dear Reader and Hits Different, and in Hits Different she says, is it you or have they come to take me away? And then Fortnight starts with, I was supposed to be sent away, but they forgot to come and get me. So then the manuscript into The Fate of Ophelia, it's just interesting. It's like reading the first chapter and the last chapter of a book. So like do that with her songs.
And one could say like the coming to get me, which there's another lyric in this song that we'll talk about that makes more sense to that, but it's like still this imagery across all these albums of like coming to get me, like, you know, I'm in this place and people just want to like ship me away and I'm like on this pedestal. And so she kind of talks about it in this song.
Yeah. So when she starts with, I heard you calling on the megaphone, you want to see me all alone, I think our immediate reaction was, oh my gosh, she's starting the album off with a reference to Travis shooting his shot on New Heights and literally trying to score a date with her over his podcast on the internet.
It's funny that she says the megaphone because technically she could have said on the microphone, but maybe that would have been too literal.
Mm-hmm.
I heard you calling on the microphone. I guess that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah,
I like the image. Yeah,
because he's just like yelling for anyone who hears, like, "Hey,"
shouting into the abyss.
Yeah,
literally. Yeah, you want to see me all alone, like. Yeah, which she talks about that later on in Eldest Daughter about like, you know, I said I was busy and I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's obviously all referencing to the first time he went to her show and tried to see her. It's like, you wanted to see me all alone that day. And then the calling on the megaphone was afterwards when he told the pod about, you know,
that
his
he wanted to
trying to meet with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that they talked about this on the New Heights episode too, where she announced Life of a Showgirl and we kind of got to hear them tell the story. It was cool. I don't think that I even realized at the time when we're sitting there listening to that episode, it's like, oh my gosh, they're telling us the full circle story. We're getting it 2 years later. We didn't know it was also going to be on the album, you know?
Right. Yeah. And then obviously the pyro lighting the match reference could be, you know, their little inside joke about TNT, which obviously Travis and Taylor, he got her a bracelet and a necklace, I think, that says TNT.
She definitely has a bracelet. Yeah.
She has a bracelet for sure. And then like the whole dynamite thing, it's like playing on the TNT.
Dynamite. The line, you light the match to watch it blow, made me think of how Travis is perceived in the NFL or just in the world, that people I think kind of knew of him as a troublemaker. He was a really good football player, but he was also a little tricky, that he wasn't afraid to talk some trash or whatever, that he's just out here having fun. And so you light the match to watch it blow. It's like, let's see what happens. Let's light the match. I'll throw this out there. I'll let the world know that I was trying to meet Taylor Swift and I didn't get to. I'm not ashamed, you know?
The audacity.
Mm-hmm. But it also, like, lighting a match just in general will always make me think of Taylor on the Midnights album cover, that she's lighting the match. And then on the Eras tour, we see her burn the Lover house down. So I just think all the fire references that end up being in the song, like starting with this, to your point, like TNT, Dynamite, like they both bring fire to this. So then we get to the pre-chorus where the lines are, and if you'd never come for me, I might have drowned in the melancholy. I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I right before you lit my sky up.
So obviously the first thing that came to mind when she says melancholy is, while she doesn't have any lyrics outside of the song that use that word, my melancholia, which is another version of the word. And you don't really read into my melancholia, which is a lyric from Lavender Haze, another not lead single, but another single off of Midnight's. And
the opening track off of Midnight. So it's from the opening track of Midnight's to the opening track of Showgirl. We've gone from staring at the ceiling with you, you don't ever say too much, and you don't really read into my melancholia, to like, you're yelling for me from the megaphone that you want to see me. And if you had never come for me, I might have drowned in that melancholy that I talked about.
Right. Because during Lavender Haze, before we all knew that it was the denial phase, which Taylor later let us know, which still haunts me. At the time, it was like, oh, that's great. Like, you don't read into my melancholia. So we love that, but it's like, maybe you should have, because I'm melancholy, because I'm sad, and you're not, and you're just letting me exist. And so she's like, yeah, I would have drowned if I kept living like that, just like Ophelia, who drowned.
And I rewatched the Lavender Haze music video over the last week because I was gathering some of the images we needed for our Fate of Ophelia music video breakdown. And literally, when she says that line, like, you don't really read into my melancholia, she's sitting up at the edge of the bed. Her partner in the music video is asleep, and there's a storm cloud over her head, like raining down on her. It's like depression.
And you don't really read into it because you're asleep and you don't care.
Yeah. Here I am laying awake at night, like deep in my thoughts. And do you even realize what's going on with me? Do you even care? I might have drowned in these feelings. And then the obvious actual reference to Ophelia drowning. Like, that's how she died.
A lot of references from this song make me think of You're Losing Me. So
Then I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I right before you lit my sky up. I mean, this might be one of my favorite lines.
So there's so much going on. Obviously, it's probably a reference to Taylor's iconic 4th of July post from July 7th, 2023, the day before Travis went to see her at Arrowhead for the first time, because it was 3 nights, I believe, in Kansas City, maybe 3.
She posted that the Friday show. He went on the Saturday.
He went too. Yeah. So her post said, "Happy belated Independence Day from your local neighborhood independent girlies," with the sunglass emoji. "See you tonight, Kansas City," with 3 Ys, because 3 nights. And that was with her and Haim, and I forget who else.
Selena,
was in that photo.
Ashley.
Yeah. Like, just chilling, independent girlies. Little do you know that this man is about to, come to your show the next day, miss his shot, talk about it, and then inevitably lead to, she really manifested. The Tay voodoo on that one was pretty wild.
The reverse Tay voodoo. And I love I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I. Obviously, she's saying the independent girlies, I was swearing my loyalty to myself. It's, when a girl comes off a breakup and they're like, I'm just worried about me. I'm just going to do me. I'm going to be single. It's like, that's the energy she was giving. But I also love the way that she phrased this, like the imagery it gives. I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I. Like, I think of the Pledge of Allegiance, which, not to jump ahead, but like we'll get to a line where she says pledge later, and like playing into the July 4th of it all, like swearing your loyalty to the flag. There's so many ways that she could have made a reference to that, but she somehow was able to immediately connect the dots because of both the July 4th of it all and the Independence Day part of the post. Like, that line just sums it all up perfectly. But it's also one of those things that if you don't know all that lore, it's still a good line.
Right.
It's just she said, I'm just going to do me. I'm just going to be single.
Which, I mean, how many people can relate? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's like you gain your independence while being single, and you're like, I swore my loyalty to me. And then, you lit my sky up. And it's like, but it's validating for those who do know, because it's like, as crazy as we think that post is, imagine how she feels. She's like, dude, I know. I literally posted that.
She called it deranged on her press tour. She's like, oh, that deranged post.
She's like, I would delete it, but I can't, because it's like a historical moment now. It needs to stay on the grid forever and always.
And we talked about this in a recent episode too, that's like the only personal post that she had on her Instagram in years. It had all been album marketing or tour marketing. And then all of a sudden one day she just puts this July 4th photo on her grid. She hadn't done something like that in a while, which made it even more iconic.
And it was 3 days late, but obviously she wanted to post it on the first day of Kansas City, but it's just funny that she posted it 3 days after the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, you think about her timeline and her life at that point, and it's like, yeah, she was probably like finally like being like, you know what, I'm over all these men, like I'm gonna just do me. And then fate was like, no. We got one more for you. And then obviously like lit my sky up, you know, it could be like 4th of July fireworks, dynamite, another play on that. Like you lit my sky up, like so many meanings for that.
You lit the match to watch it blow, and it ended up lighting up my whole sky. So then we go into the chorus. All that time I sat alone in my tower. You were just honing your powers. Now I can see it all. Late one night, you dug me out of my grave and saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia.
Ophelia.
I know it's so hard to say the lyrics and not sing it.
Do not subject the listeners.
So the tower imagery.
Well, I went in on these lyrical references. I was like, it was just, I mean, thank God for the Taylor Swift lyric generator or lyric search
function.
Yeah. Do like, yeah. So you have the lyric, one less temptress, one less dagger to sharpen, locked me up in towers, but I'd visit in your dreams, which is the albatross. Then you have, I was in my tower weaving nightmares, Cassandra. Obviously, we already spoke about like Love Story, where she's a princess. We have the song White Horse, where she's a princess. And like you get a lot of this, you know, princess imagery, the Bejeweled music video. It's just like, you know, she's always talking about how she's being like locked away, which is what we talked about earlier.
Cages. Yeah.
Yeah. Like she's just this prize to be, you know, possessed or she's crazy and that's why she's locked away. And it's like in the tower waiting for her love to come, or in the tower because they've locked her away.
The tower references just perfectly kind of paint what Taylor, I feel like, has been writing about, just wanting this like storybook fantasy love, but never really having it. Or she's talked about how when she accepted the Grammy for Album of the Year for 1989, she talked about how she didn't have a partner to share that with. So the sitting alone in her tower imagery is sealed into the Swifties' brains. But again, you don't have to know all of that lore to start appreciating the picture that she's painting. You were just honing your powers. I also love that reference to Travis. In my mind, I'm thinking of Travis as we're thinking of it from Taylor's perspective, that he has been honing his craft. He's been building his career. He's been working towards something and making a name for himself. I think as a fan watching their relationship play out over the last couple of years, it's been really cool to see Taylor be with someone who understands like the dedication that she has to put into her work and her commitment and how hard she works, and that he's doing the same. She had worked her way up to the top of this tower in the music industry, and he was out here winning Super Bowls. And so now that they've gotten to this point, she can see that this was how it was always supposed to be. But at the time, it might not feel like that.
He's like a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
A sorcerer.
I mean, we'll get to the wizard references when we get to Wood, but then she says, late one night, you dug me out of my grave. So we've gone from the tower to the grave, which is interesting, and saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia. So again, the grave. Taylor has talked about being buried, dying, graves a lot. This might be the most lyric references we have for callbacks to other songs.
Literally. I mean, obviously, like if you're a rep stan, that's where in my mind it all began, is when she really started like going in on that whole imagery. So like obviously like in the Look What You Made Me Do music video, she rose up from the dead. She's in a graveyard. Yolo Taylor can't come to the phone right now because she's dead. There's that whole imagery. But then there's also check the pulse and come back swearing. It's the same after 3 months in the grave. All too well. 10-minute version, you know? So she's associating a relationship to 3 months being in the freaking grave. If that's not the worst metaphor you could ever have, or analogy for a relationship. In my defense, I had none for digging up the grave another time, but it would have been fun. The one, you know? It's like, here she is, like digging up the grave and trying to see if this is gonna work. Dig me out of my grave. But it didn't. Stitches undone, 2 graves, 1 gun, and then later you'll find someone. So long, London. Now they're both in a grave. you know?
Mm-hmm.
And only one of them's going to make it out alive.
And there are so many references on TTPD, like building up like waves crashing over my grave without ever touching his skin. How can I be guilty as sin from guilty as sin? And down bad, she says, I might just die. It would make no difference. LOML, still alive, killing time at the cemetery, never quite buried. It was unnecessary, should have let it stayed buried. And in The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, were you sent by someone who wanted me dead? I would have died for your sins. Instead, I just died inside. I feel like she's referenced the grave multiple times, especially starting with Rep, like you were saying. But on Tortured Poets, she writes about feeling like someone wanted her dead or that she was dying multiple times in multiple different songs. And I think the Eras Tour imagery that we got in Tortured Poets set also showed this, because she plays the smallest man who ever lived and she dies at the end of it, and then she has to be brought back to life to go perform. I can do it with a broken heart. Go out there and perform with your broken heart while you feel like you're dead.
And then we talked about You're Losing Me. How can you say that you love someone you can't tell is dying? And it's like thinking about that again being the parallel and like the part 2 of Lavender Haze. Yeah, I was messed up. You knew that. You were just chilling. You didn't take it seriously.
Seriously, go from Lavender Haze to You're Losing Me. And it's the kind of the arc of everything that we're saying of, you don't really read into my melancholia, and then my face was gray, but you wouldn't admit that we were sick. And how can you say that you love someone you can't tell is dying? It's
I don't know if I've ever done that order, but like, no, literally, like doing these lyrical parallels, for some reason, those kept like that whole story arc kept coming up in my head. And I was like, dang, you just want to stay in that lavender haze. No, you don't.
Right.
The lavender haze is not the place to be.
So to me, that story in Midnights and the story in Tortured Poets are coming from different places, different experiences, but both of them made her feel like she had dug a grave and was laying in it, and her heart was dead. It was broken to pieces and buried. Now you dug me out of my grave and saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia.
I mean, after all of those like lyrical like callbacks, it's just, she really has been going in about like feeling that way. It's just crazy. And just surmise her past relationships and how they've made her feel, and just that she ended up just feeling like, you know, I'm just like dead to all of it. And like, I'm an independent girly. I'm over it. Like, I'm in my grave now. And then he saved her.
And when you think about the imagery of the Eras Tour as well, like in that little bit before I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, the fact that that's where Travis came on stage during the Eras Tour when he made his appearance, and he helped bring her back to life and bring the color back to her face and all those things that we were already freaked out about when it happened. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, and that whole performance was very showgirl-esque. At the time that Travis jumped on stage and did that, she was already writing Showgirl. So she already knew where this was all heading. For all we know, she'd already written the fate of Ophelia. So it's just interesting that she did tie Travis into bringing her back from dying from the smallest man who ever lived. And that we literally saw that. And now here we're getting the song kind of about how that actually happened in real life.
Yeah. And that's where she could be like a mastermind, because now them being engaged and all of that perfect timing, it's like we didn't even know, she didn't even know. Knowing what we know now, it just makes this whole story even more romantic, even though we already stand.
Right. The fact that this album came out after they're engaged and announced that, shared that with all of us, is wild timing, because she probably had the album announcement, release date, everything, all the songs. It was all locked, loaded long before Travis proposed, because he proposed to her after they recorded the New Heights episode where she was holding the vinyl. You know, it's like, yeah, literally. She was already putting all this music out into the world, whether they were engaged or not. The fact that they are, it just makes it even better.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
For those who don't know the fate of Ophelia, we briefly mentioned it, but yeah, it's like the whole plan, like Act 4, Scene 7, which is when she drowned. Taylor referenced 47 twice during the New Heights episode that you were just talking about. Essentially, Hamlet killed Ophelia's dad. Hamlet was her lover. And then Hamlet's mom, Gertrude, is the one that it's not clear if Ophelia killed herself or if she was murdered. And Gertrude, I guess, like just gave the news, but like, was she actually the one who found Ophelia? I like read all these deep threads, and apparently no one fully knows.
It's right. Just, like, it's part of the question is, was she murdered, or did she herself. No one knows.
Right. Or did she go mad because she's, you know, whatever. I like to think she was murdered. I'm sure Taylor likes that as well because, you know, she was betrayed. Like, she didn't kill herself because she's crazy over, you know, her situation and whatever. Like, it's like gaslighting almost to be like, she killed herself. It's like, or was she murdered? A lot of the threads say that they think she was murdered. Anyway, so that's like the very non-verbatim backstory of the fate of
Ophelia. I was talking about this with a friend who pointed out they didn't like the idea that Taylor or that anyone would need to be saved by someone else. My friend wishes that this was written from a perspective of I was good and then therefore now I could be good in a relationship or whatever, which I totally get that point. But I also think that that's why Taylor wrote it the way that she did, which is saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia, not saved her as a whole, saved her heart. Because as, again, the connection between I could do it with a broken heart, Taylor's already said, I'm a real tough kid. I can handle it. I can fake it till I make it. I have a broken heart, but I can still be Taylor Swift on the Eras Tour, touring the world. I know I can do it. But he saved her heart, not her. Does that make sense? That distinction is important to me in how she's telling the story. Because Taylor would have continued on either way. She just, one way might have been with a dead heart, and another way, it's with a full heart.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, she would have been heartless.
So then we go into the post-chorus, which I love that there's a pre-chorus and a post-chorus in this song. And the post-chorus is the TikTokable dance part. Keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky. Pledge allegiance to your hand, your team, your vibes. Don't care where the hell you've been, because now you're mine. It's about to be the sleepless night you've been dreaming of. The fate of Ophelia.
I mean, out the gate, obviously, keep it 100. Travis, you know, Easter egged all of us when we had no idea, where he had the Instagram post before we knew about the life of a showgirl and said, kept it 100, and then just dropped all these cute little photos of him and Taylor from the summer. You know, just like ooh. And also he mentioned it in the New Heights episode as well and kept trying to sprinkle in how, you know, keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
And it just like, that's just a phrase from Travis. And it's like, it also apparently is now Life of a Showgirl reference as well.
I love it so much. Numerology, 80, he's 87, I'm 13, equals 100. Keep it 100. I just love that works for them. Of course it does. What are the chances that Taylor's number and her future partner's jersey number would add up to 100? It's crazy.
Hey, voodoo. And then obviously the land, the sea, the sky, you know, their time on the land, their time by a boat, because we know that they went on a boat vacay in Europe. The sky, obviously many planes. So, you know, they're doing the land, the sea, the sky. It's like
they've been everywhere. Yep, they're keeping it 100 wherever they go. And pledge allegiance to your hands, your team, your vibes. So much is loaded into this little line. The hands reminds me of on Tortured Poets when she says, touch me while your bros play Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that. We already know what she's talking about with his hands. Okay, she loves his hands. She also references his hands again on Wood, I think, where she says, like, fingers crossed until you put your hands on mine. So I think there's like multiple layers to it. It all doesn't have to be like a sexual innuendo, but I think that's part of it. And also the fact that he uses his hands to freaking, like, that's his job. He's blocking or he's catching. And so I'm pledging myself to all of you. Your team, obviously, let's go Chiefs. They're playing at the time that we are recording this episode, and it's killing me to not be watching. And I'm sure it'd be killing Taylor too. The vibes reference, it makes me think of how Taylor has described Travis as a human exclamation point, and also how Travis has described himself. I think this might have been from an interview before he and Taylor ever even dated, actually, where he said he tries to think of himself as a fountain, that when someone else's cup is low, like, he's filling their cup. You don't want to be the drain in people's lives that's sucking the water out. You want to be the fountain. I've always kept that in my brain because it's just an interesting concept. So again, your vibes, I think that's the energy that Travis brings into not only Taylor's life, but everyone that's around him. Like, he just has good vibes.
Yeah. It's a very millennial description It's like, cool vibes. We get
Yeah.
it. Don't care where the hell you've been because now you're mine. Definitely feels like a Catching Kelsey reference, the dating show he was on. Also with some validation to that for the Fate of Ophelia music video where you see that old photo of Travis on the mirror. Definitely looks exactly like him during that time period. And also, as we talked about in our breakdown of it being when he said, are you going to marry, kiss, or kill Taylor? And he said, marry.
He said
right?
kiss.
He said kiss. Okay, that's right. She's betting on all three.
Mm-hmm.
Or was. So I like that. Like, again, it seems like so vague. And if you don't know the lore, you're like, don't care where the hell you've been because now you're mine. It's like that could be literally anyone in any relationship. But, we know where he's been. So it's like, and so does she. And she's like, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter.
And then it's about to be the sleepless night you've been dreaming of, the fate of Ophelia. So I think it's interesting that she repeats the fate of Ophelia again after this because it's not some sleepless bad night. It's not a death or drowning. This is the kind of sleepless night that you're dreaming of, like that you want. And as we've said, Travis shot his shot on the megaphone. He put it out there that he wanted to meet her. The interview that you're referencing, he's like, yeah, I want to kiss Taylor Swift. There were multiple other examples of the fact that Taylor had clearly been his celebrity crush for a while. So he'd been dreaming of this. He's been dreaming of getting this girl. He's been pining. And it's about to be the sleepless night he's been dreaming of.
More on that and wood.
It also just made me think of in So High School when she says, tell me about the first time you saw me. It's like like, oh yeah, tell me about that again. Like the first time that you saw me, the first time that you realized you liked me, whatever. I'm so happy for her that she has this relationship that makes her feel so secure because he has literally been the one pursuing her,
right.
So publicly.
He's obsessed with her. Like, finally, a man that recognizes, her for what she is.
Mm-hmm. So on to the second verse. The eldest daughter of a nobleman, Ophelia lived in fantasy. But love was a cold bed full of scorpions. The venom stole her sanity.
As she tends to like to do in like the first track, we get a reference to eldest daughter, which obviously is a track on the album, which is cool. It's like a little Easter egg. When I hear nobleman, I think about like love story, Juliet, who was also, interestingly enough, an only child, aka the eldest daughter. And then in the song Mine, you made a rebel of a careless man's careful daughter. So like all of that kind of comes to mind with that one line. So it's like talking about a future track on the album and more Shakespeare references.
Mm-hmm. Then when she says Ophelia lived in fantasy, there are many Taylor references to fantasies. The ones that popped into my head were from more recent albums. So she said that she was writing from a fantasy place on Folklore and Evermore, that she was making up stories. But then on Tortured Poets, she referenced fantasies that she was having, right? So in Guilty as Sin, she says the fatal fantasies giving way to labored breath. And then in I Hate It Here, she says, I'll save all my romanticism for my inner life. So like she has to keep her fantasies to herself and like live in her head. And then she also says, and I hate it here, in my fantasies, I rise above it, and way up here, I actually love it. So she's trying to think of this place or manifest this place where she does love her life. And it doesn't have to be a form of escapism, that it's her reality, but she can't get there. It's all, right. She's just living in this fantasy.
Ophelia lived in delusion just like she did.
Mm-hmm.
But her love was a cold bed full of scorpions, which apparently is another Shakespeare reference to Macbeth. Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. The scorpions represented Macbeth's psychological turmoil.
Mm-hmm. So remember when we first heard it and we were like, oh, that's interesting that she said scorpions and not snakes. And that's why, because it's a Shakespeare reference. And then she's also referenced scorpions on other songs, or at least one other song with Mad Woman, when she says, does a scorpion sting when fighting back? They strike to kill, and you know I will. So that in that song, I think she was calling herself the scorpion because she was stepped on and she was fighting back. But in this case, Taylor is sleeping on a bed full of scorpions that it was supposed to be her loves. But no, it's a bed full of scorpions.
And then the venom stole her sanity, throwing it back once again to Mad Woman. Every time you call me crazy, I get more crazy. What about that? And when you say I seem angry, I get more angry. And there's nothing like a mad woman. What a shame she went mad. So yeah, all of the inflictions stole her sanity and made her crazy.
Shout out to Alex for these connections, because we were talking about Taylor's use of the word sanity over the weekend while we were talking about this episode. And he called out blank space, they'll tell you I'm insane. And then fast forward to Rep on Don't Blame Me, where she says, I'm insane, but I'm your baby. So like those are some little plays on the word insane or sanity. And then in Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, she continues to make more references to her sanity.
I was tame, I was gentle till the circus life made me mean. Don't you worry, folks. We took out all of her teeth. Who's afraid of little of me? Well, you should be. I want to snarl and show you just how disturbed this has made me. You wouldn't last an hour in the asylum where they raised me, which is like one of my favorite lyrics because I use it as a play on like, you wouldn't last an hour in the asylum that Taylor, raised us as clowns. You caged me and then you called me crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So many references to her sanity in her work. And so she's saying like these scorpions' venom has stolen her sanity. And then the play on those themes in Who's Afraid of Little Old Me and the way that she performed it, people have made this connection that on the Eras tour, I don't know if she'd always done it this way or if at some point she started to do it this way, but when she would perform Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, there would be this point where she would say, me? And her voice would squeak. And if you listen to this line in Fate of Ophelia, she says the venom stole her sanity. In the background, you can hear the like inflection that's the same as how she performed Who's Afraid of Little Old Me.
I'm pretty sure like most of the songs from the Eras tour, especially the Torture Poets, said that pitch is in like the backing tracks of Who's Afraid of Little Me, because remember we talked about that, like a lot of the like, you know, the buried vocals that she did, she actually brought to life during the tour. So yeah, I remember I heard that the other day, the Fate of Ophelia one, and I was like, where have I heard this before? And
it
was,
sounds
like,
so
really
familiar.
Me. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it when she not only has lyrical references that call back to other songs, but also has inflections or cadences, whatever, like that. And we're about to lead into another one, which is the pre-chorus. And again, one of my favorite things that Taylor does is instead of repeating the same thing twice in a song, she will change it slightly, right? So the first pre-chorus was, and if you'd never come for me, I might have drowned in the melancholy. I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I right before you lit my sky up. And now in this pre-chorus, she says, and if you'd never come for me, I might have lingered in purgatory. You wrap around me like a chain, a crown of vine, pulling me into the fire. To like jump ahead quickly and go to the you wrap around me like a chain, a crown of vine, when she has the claps in there. I'm like, there are so many other Taylor songs that use the little claps, and I love that she like worked that into another song because she just knows that we love to freaking clap. But that's what I was referencing with like the E from Sanity, like moving into this. It's just like, yes, keep bringing back your family of music in different ways and like making it feel new because you know that we love this little stuff.
Right. And if we were to watch this song live, we all would be on the beat, just like You Belong With Me, Shake It Off, or like two notable ones that come to mind of like, you know, when you're hearing You Belong With Me, everyone knows to get the two claps in. So I clocked those claps early on when I was listening to this song and I was like, ooh, and it's very satisfying. It's very satisfying use. There's a lot of claps in this song, to be fair, but those are like the very like notable ones that distinct. You can't help but not do whenever you hear the song. I'm always like,
So the first line of this pre-chorus is, and if you never come for me, I might have lingered in purgatory. So we've moved on from the melancholia into the purgatory. And oh man, does Taylor also have a lot of references to purgatory or being trapped, like we were kind of talking about with the whole grave thing. On Dear Reader, she says, to a house, not a home, all alone because nobody's there, where I paste my pen and my friends found friends who care. On Hits Different, she says, is it you or have they come to take me away? Then on Fortnite, like I've already referenced these songs earlier, but I was supposed to be sent away, but they forgot to come and get me. All this imagery that Taylor has been sent away somewhere, or that she's alone or trapped.
Right. And like obviously purgatory usually means like, you know, you're in the in between. So it's also like a play on, you know, she's referenced ghost many times in songs. And it's like in purgatory, I think is usually where ghosts would end up, where it's like they're not quite passed over. They're like in purgatory. They're just hanging out because they are in the in between. So, you know, Taylor hasn't passed over because she's, you know, has so much unfinished business.
In the Tortured Poets prologue, she wrote, I was out of the oven and into the microwave. Like from one extreme to another, just a different kind. Like one's a long, slow burn and the other's a quick, like boom. I feel like that also kind of is purgatory to me, like an oven to a microwave. It's just like you're like just like trapped in these intense things.
Also the juxtaposition, like when you're equating it to a human, even that imagery, you're like, yikes, out of the oven into the microwave. Thinking about things that explode in the microwaves too. Like
And then in the Fortnite music video, she's literally in a mental hospital. It's the illusion that they're trying to make, and she's getting her brain like electroshock therapied because of whatever.
And then taking
she's
a
been
pill that
through.
says "forget him," like it says on the pill. It's like it couldn't be more clear. She's like, I feel insane.
Yeah. So we're earlier when we were referencing with the different grave and death things between Midnights and Tortured Poets, I again feel like these pre-choruses in the Fate of Ophelia, like the Melancholia was a reference to Midnights, and this Purgatory is a reference to Tortured Poets.
For sure. And then you wrap around me like a chain, a crown, a vine. There's like a lot to unpack there. It's like you said earlier, how she like will flip the word. So like in the last pre-chorus, we got like the me, myself, and I. Now we have a chain, a crown, a vine. And so it's like just very good on the ears. When I hear chain, I think of the T chain that she wore for the Grammys when we all were like spiraling. And then obviously she says, what if he's written mine on my upper thigh? Guilty as sin, which like now you have the T chain coming to life, like, you know, on her upper thigh. I thought of the times that she has worn like Chiefs jewelry. She has the number 87, which makes me immediately think about Call It What You Want. Like I want to wear his initial on a chain around my neck, or something wrapped all of my past mistakes in barbed wire, chains around my demons, invisible string, which is like another play on the chain. It's not necessarily jewelry. But I was just thinking, like, I was like reading that lyric and being like, this is from Invisible String, which was supposed to be like this cute love story. And then you have like this lyric of like something wrapped all of my past mistakes in barbed wire, chains around my demons. And you're like, all right. And obviously that's like misplaced. So if you don't see this full picture of the song and that, but still you're like, that's from Invisible String, everyone, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like Lavender Haze almost.
But it's meant in a sweet way, like something covered up the barbed wire so I wasn't stacking myself on it, and something chained my demons so that they were put away.
Right.
But yeah, just like those two lines are so intense. Then the crown references, Taylor's made many crown references in her music. They took the crown, but it's all right. Again, a Call It What You Want reference, or you were my crown, now I'm in exile, seeing you out from exile. Ditch the clowns, get the crown, baby, I'm the one to beat, from The Alchemy. Let's go. Super Bowl reference right there.
Then you have Vine. I once was Poison Ivy, but now I'm your Daisy from Don't Blame Me. And then even more so, my House of Stone, your ivy grows, and now I'm covered in you from Ivy, which I love that song. That's really what I think of when I think of the Vine of like
Vine, yeah,
of
something's
Ivy
just wrapping
yeah.
around me, yeah. And then pulling me into the fire, I feel like is a callback to the first verse again, where Taylor says he lit the match to watch it blow because he's a pyro. And I also have the Ivy references in my brain too because of the Vine line. In Ivy, Taylor says, so yeah, it's a fire, it's a god blaze in the dark, and you started it. So you started the fire. You're pulling me in. You've wrapped around me like a vine, and now we're heating up.
It's cool because Ivy is from Evermore, which we talked about earlier, is, you know, one of the albums which Taylor said at the time was fictional, like primarily fictional based, and like these characters and just like, you know, a different take on her normal albums and how she writes music. And so I remember always hearing the song Ivy and being like, this is such an interesting, sweet, fictional song. And I don't know, I always really loved Ivy. I feel like it was kind of underrated. And so it's kind of
Ivy. Yeah.
it's kind of wild that it's like now you could literally apply this to like her and Travis, and it's like really manifested. It's kind of insane, but it's such a pretty song.
My pain fits in the palm of your freezing hand. Like, yeah, I listened to Ivy today as well. Like pretty much every song that we've referenced as inspiration, I ended up just wanting to listen to it because they were swirling in my brain. Then the chorus and the post-chorus repeats again, and then we get to the bridge. It's bridge time. Are you ready to cross the first bridge of the life of a showgirl and analyze it, Ryan?
Prove it. Do you know the lyrics to this bridge?
The lyrics to this bridge are grammatically correct. 'Tis locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. And then it repeats, locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. And the vocals on that build up of the bridge, all because you came for me. Like you were just doing. It's so good. So take it from the top. Locked inside my memory and only you possess the key. Those are actual Shakespeare references. This blew my mind because I didn't know these. In Hamlet Act 1 Scene 3, there's the line, 'Tis my memory locked and you shall keep the key of it. That's a line from Ophelia. Later on in that scene, Ophelia says, I was the more deceived. So 'tis locked inside my memory and only you possess the key, no longer drowning and deceived. Actual Shakespeare references in the Taylor Swift bridge.
Also, 'tis locked inside my memory made me think of I keep these longings locked in lowercase inside a vault. Guilty as sin.
And only you possess the key. We've referenced I hate it here a couple of times now, but in I hate it here, she says, I hate it here, so I will go to secret gardens in my mind. People need a key to get to. The only one is mine. So she used to be the one with the key to unlock these fantasies in her brain to go have this form of escapism, to picture this better life. But now she is with someone who actually has the key to her and her happiness and saving her heart.
And her thighs, according to Wood, where she literally says, the key to my thighs. No, it opened my thighs.
Your
Sorry.
love was the key that opened my thighs.
That's not it.
Or for those of you who have been listening to the clean version, your love was the key that opened my skies, you know?
Same. You know? They're like, what? It's like, ooh, spoiler if y'all have not heard the non-clean version. And then the Eras Tour stage being a key. We know that was a whole thing. Also referenced the Bejeweled music video earlier. It reminds me of in the beginning of the video before the song starts where Taylor just says she wants the key to the castle. And so it's again playing on all this like independence, like in the video, some of them want the money, some of them want the man, and she's just like, I just want the keys to the castle. So it's an interesting switch up to that. And then obviously no longer drowning could be a play on Ophelia, drowned and deceived. Obviously we know Taylor has been deceived and tricked many times by past lovers and friends and foes. Lots of lyrical references alluding to drowning and being tricked.
Yes. Some of my favorites from Tortured Poets that, again, I feel like there's a through line to this song from LOML where she says, you talked me under the table, talking rings and talking cradles. I wish I could unrecall how we almost had it all. And that like is a double layered reference to me because the like locked inside my memory and only you possess the key. She's saying, I wish that I could forget this. And now she's saying this stuff is locked away inside my memory. Like it's not her story anymore. I feel like all of that is playing into it. This is no longer haunting her and paining her. It's locked away. And Travis helped lock all of that stuff up for her. So the like chains around my demons line too that we were talking about, this is almost even better than that. It's not just like chains around my demons. This is all locked away and tucked away safely. And only you possess the key because you're keeping all that stuff away from my present.
Right. Some references to drowning in past songs. I feel like I might sink and drown and die, which plays back in how we just talked about earlier. That's from Gorgeous. And you're like, okay, she's okay. And then pretends he doesn't know that he's the reason why you're drowning, which like, it's crazy reading that lyric now and being like, I knew you were trouble. Cause now you're like, is that on You're Losing Me? No. But like, my goodness, the foreshadowing, and also like not literally, but like that was her mindset when she was like in her early 20s and was speaking like that. And then obviously just like really blew it up in later songs. But it's interesting when you pull it out of the song, you're like, wow, that's a deep lyric.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously talking about deceiving, and therein lies the issue. Friends don't try to trick you. That's why we can't have nice things. Obviously, you know, Cassandra plays on that a lot. Thank you, Amy, all those other songs. So look what you made me do.
Yep. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. And then again, the bridge repeats that line, that mantra again, locked inside my memory, only you possess the key. And then she goes back into that chorus and post-chorus.
All that time.
I sat alone in my tower. If it's killing everyone else, that this is just our voices and not Taylor singing, us too. Like, I just have the song in loop in my brain as we're reading through all of these, and now I want to listen to it again.
Yeah, I'll probably listen to it after this.
Yeah. Hopefully going through all of this line by line, verse by verse, pre-chorus by pre-chorus, maybe shed some light into some of these parallels that Taylor builds with her songwriting. And again, you don't have to know any of those references of all the other times she said she wanted to die or drown or reference the word grave to hear this song and appreciate it. But that's part of what makes us go down these rabbit holes as Swifties, is because of this lyrical universe that Taylor has given to us, and that she always pulls on it and builds on it and plays on it in her new work. It's like a word puzzle in your brain when you hear a new Taylor album to think of, oh, what is that reminding me of?
Yeah, it's like her own storybook. It's pretty wild.
So now that we've broken down the song and told you what our interpretations are of it and how we view these lyrics, we want to hear from you all about how you're interpreting the song, how you're vibing with it. And if you have any similar life experiences that come to mind when you listen to the song. So if you have any interpretations that you want to share or experiences that relate to the fate of Ophelia that you want to share with us, we have updated our Tay Therapy form to be fully brought into the showgirl era, if you will. So if it's the fate of Ophelia or maybe another song that you know we're going to break down, you can go ahead and fill that out. The link to that will be in the description of this episode. We want to hear your stories, and we especially want to hear your stories shared through a voicemail if possible. So you'll have an option to record something, and we are really looking forward to hearing your voices and being able to play those out loud. But if you don't want to record your voice, there is a form where you can write out your story as well. Again, look for that in the description of this episode. And otherwise, we hope that you enjoyed this breakdown. Go listen to The Fate of Ophelia. Let us know in the comments what you think of the start of this series and any ideas that you have for the upcoming songs we'll be breaking down. We have 11 more to go. Thanks for watching and for listening. Bye.